Welcome to LitRPG Tales, where every story is a new adventure. Today we are starting the prologue for Echoes of Eternum. Echoes of Eternum is our first LitRPG YouTube audiobook series. So ready your weapons, adventurers, and join us on this quest. The world of Eternum, before its tragic fall, was a realm of unparalleled beauty and harmony. It was a place where magic intertwined seamlessly with nature, where every element of the world seemed to pulse with life and purpose. Eternum was not merely a land, it was a living, breathing entity, a world where the boundaries between the physical and the mystical were thin, where the ancient and the new coexisted in perfect balance. The heart of Eternum was its vast, sprawling landscapes, each more magnificent than the last. Towering mountains, their peaks crowned with eternal snow, reached into the heavens, acting as the guardians of the land. Below them, lush forests spread out like an emerald sea, their canopies thick and verdant, home to creatures of both flesh and spirit. Rivers, pure and clear as crystal, wound through the valleys, their waters teeming with life, while the great oceans stretched to the horizon, their depths hiding secrets as old as time itself. Cities and settlements dotted the land, each a marvel of architecture and magic. The capital, known as Etherwind, was a shining beacon of civilization, where towers of marble and gold rose above the clouds, their spires humming with arcane energy. The streets of Etherwind were always bustling, filled with scholars, artisans, and adventurers who had come from all corners of the world to partake in the knowledge and power that the city offered. The grand libraries housed countless tomes of wisdom, chronicling the history of Eternum and the ancient arts of echo manipulation, a practice known only to the most learned of the realm. Magic was the lifeblood of Eternum, a force that was as natural as the air its people breathed. It was a gift from the gods, a manifestation of their will, and a tool for the betterment of all. The practice of magic was not merely for combat or grand displays of power, it was woven into the very fabric of daily life. Farmers used spells to enhance their crops, ensuring bountiful harvests. Artisans crafted items imbued with enchantments, creating works that were both functional and beautiful. Even the simple act of lighting a hearth fire was often done with a whispered incantation, a small nod to the magic that surrounded and sustained them. The civilizations of Eternum were united by a common understanding of the balance between power and responsibility. The leaders of the various kingdoms and city-states held council in the Celestial Chamber, a place of neutral ground where disputes were settled and alliances forged. These leaders were not just rulers, they were stewards of the land, entrusted with the care of both their people and the world itself. The Celestial Chamber, located in the heart of Etherwind, was a place of awe-inspiring grandeur, with its walls adorned with murals depicting the creation of the world, the rise of the first civilizations, and the gods who watched over them. Yet beneath this surface of tranquility and order, there were whispers of something more, a power that lay just beyond the reach of mortal understanding. In the deepest, most ancient parts of the world, in places untouched by time, there were hints of forces that even the most learned scholars could not explain. These were the echoes, fragments of forgotten events and lost memories, resonating with an energy that was both alluring and terrifying. Though few knew of their existence, those who did spoke of them in hushed tones, wary of the potential they held. It was said that the echoes were remnants of the gods themselves, echoes of their thoughts, emotions, and actions, imprinted upon the very fabric of reality. These echoes were not bound by the laws of time and space. They were elusive, unpredictable, and incredibly powerful. For centuries they remained dormant, hidden away in the forgotten corners of the world, waiting for the day when they would be discovered. As the people of Eternum continued to live their lives, unaware of the storm that was brewing, the echoes began to stir. Subtle changes in the world hinted at their awakening. An unseasonal frost here, a storm that appeared out of nowhere there. Strange occurrences that were dismissed as coincidences or omens of minor importance. But these were the first signs of a much greater upheaval, one that would forever change the course of history. And so Eternum stood on the precipice of disaster, a world of unmatched beauty and harmony, blissfully unaware of the cataclysm that was about to tear it apart. The echoes, once silent and still, were beginning to awaken, and with them would come a force that no one could have foreseen, a force that would shatter the world and give birth to a new, fractured reality where the past and present would collide in ways unimaginable. This was the world before the Echo Sundering, a paradise soon to be lost, a dream on the verge of becoming a nightmare. And at the heart of this impending disaster lay the Echoes, the mysterious remnants of a forgotten power waiting to be unleashed upon an unsuspecting world. With the harmonious world of Eternum now introduced, we transition to the cataclysmic event that forever altered the landscape, the Echo Sundering. This event was not merely a disaster, it was the unraveling of reality itself, a tearing apart of the very fabric that held the world together. The Sundering began subtly, with the world itself giving signs that something was amiss, signs that were too easily dismissed by those who lived in the peaceful realm. It started with a tremor, a small shiver that ran through the land, barely noticeable at first. The people of Eternum, accustomed to the occasional quake in the mountainous regions, paid it little mind. But this tremor was different. It wasn't localized, it spread throughout the world, touching every corner of Eternum. From the highest peaks of the ironclad range to the deepest depths of the ocean, the earth shuddered as if in fear of what was to come. Then came the sky, once a serene canvas of blues and whites, now darkening with ominous clouds that swirled and twisted in unnatural patterns. Lightning flashed, but it was not the lightning of a normal storm. It was jagged and harsh, cracking the sky like glass. The air grew thick with static, and a low, ominous hum began to resonate across the land, a sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. As the sky darkened further, the tremors grew more violent. Buildings that had stood for centuries began to crumble, their foundations unable to withstand the sheer force of the Earth's movements. The great forests, once lush and green, were torn apart as the ground beneath them split open, swallowing ancient trees whole. Rivers and lakes boiled as if heated from within, their waters evaporating into thick clouds of steam that added to the oppressive atmosphere. Then, with a deafening roar, the sky itself began to crack. It started as a single fissure, a jagged line that split the heavens and revealed a darkness beyond. A darkness that was not merely the absence of light, but the presence of something far more malevolent. The fissure widened, spreading like a spider's web across the sky, until it seemed as though the very vault of the heavens would collapse upon the world. The ground, too, began to fracture, deep chasms opening up without warning. Entire cities were swallowed whole, their inhabitants screaming in terror as they plummeted into the abyss. Mountains crumbled into dust, and the seas were pulled into the rifts, creating massive whirlpools that devoured everything in their path. The very laws of nature seemed to break down as reality itself began to unravel. And then, in the midst of this chaos, the echoes emerged. These were not the subtle, elusive fragments that scholars had whispered about in the past. No, these echoes were something far more potent, raw, untamed forces that burst forth from the shattered remnants of the world. They manifested as swirling, ethereal forms, each one a fragment of a memory, a piece of the past that had been torn free from its moorings in time. The echoes were not bound by the same rules as the physical world. They moved through the air, through the earth, through the very fabric of reality, with no regard for the chaos around them. They were remnants of a time before the Sundering, memories of a world that had once been whole, and now they drifted aimlessly, seeking out those who could give them purpose. But the echoes were not benign. They were as dangerous as they were powerful, and those who tried to harness them quickly learned the cost. The echoes had a will of their own, a chaotic energy that could not be easily controlled. Those who attempted to use them without fully understanding their nature were often consumed by the very forces they sought to command, their bodies and minds torn apart by the raw power of the echoes. As the Echo Sundering reached its peak, the world of Eternum was left a shattered husk of its former self. The once thriving civilizations were reduced to ruins, their great cities now little more than rubble. The verdant forests were replaced by barren wastelands, the clear skies by a perpetual twilight of swirling clouds and darkened skies. The seas had receded, leaving behind vast deserts where life once flourished. In the wake of the Sundering, the echoes were all that remained of the world that was. They drifted through the shattered landscape, fragments of memories and power that held the key to the past, and perhaps to the future. But their nature remained a mystery, and the question of what had caused the sundering and how it might be undone hung heavy in the air. With the catastrophic Echo sundering now unleashed, the world of Eternum was left in a state of chaos and devastation. The once thriving civilizations were in ruins, and the remnants of those who had survived the cataclysm faced an existence filled with fear and uncertainty. The very fabric of reality had been torn apart, and in its place, a world of fragments and echoes emerged, one where the past and present intertwined in a dangerous and unpredictable dance. The echoes themselves became a central element of this new reality. They were not merely remnants of the past. They were active forces that held immense power, capable of reshaping the world and those who dared to wield them. For some, the echoes were a curse, bringing madness and destruction to those who were unprepared for their power. For others, they represented an opportunity, a chance to harness the power of the past and use it to forge a new future in a world that had lost its way. The survivors of the sundering quickly realized that the echoes could not be ignored. They permeated every aspect of life in Eternum, drifting through the air like spectral memories, sometimes visible, sometimes only felt as a whisper in the wind. Those with the ability to sense or manipulate the echoes found themselves both feared and revered, for they held the key to unlocking the secrets of the shattered world. In the wake of the sundering, a new order began to take shape. Small communities formed around those who could harness the power of the echoes, creating a fragile network of settlements that clung to the edges of the world's new reality. These settlements were often built in the ruins of ancient cities or near sources of echoes, where the power of the past was most concentrated. Each settlement developed its own methods for dealing with the echoes, some focusing on studying them, others on using them as tools or weapons. The people of Eternum soon discovered that the echoes were not uniform in nature. Some were benign, even helpful, offering glimpses of knowledge or power that could be used to rebuild the world. These echoes were sought after by scholars and sages who believed that they held the key to understanding what had gone wrong and how it could be fixed. Other echoes, however, were malevolent, twisted by the sundering into dangerous entities that could corrupt or destroy those who came into contact with them. The most powerful of these echoes were known as the Ancient Echoes, fragments of memories and power from before the sundering, containing the essence of the world that was. These echoes were rare and highly sought after, for they were believed to hold the true knowledge of the past, the secrets that could explain the sundering and perhaps even reverse its effects. However, the Ancient Echoes were also the most dangerous, for they were unpredictable and could easily overwhelm those who tried to control them. In this new world, a hierarchy emerged based on one's ability to interact with the echoes. Those who could sense and manipulate echoes became the leaders and protectors of their communities, while those who could not were often left to fend for themselves. This division created tension and conflict, as power struggles emerged over access to echoes and the knowledge they contained. The world of Eternum became a place where knowledge and power were intertwined, where the pursuit of echoes drove both the hopes and fears of its people. Amidst this turmoil, the mystery of the sundering itself remained unsolved. No one knew what had caused it or how it could be stopped. Theories abounded, ranging from the wrath of the gods to the misuse of powerful magic, but none could explain the full extent of the catastrophe. This mystery became a central focus for those who sought to understand the echoes, for they believed that by unraveling the secrets of the past, they could find a way to restore balance to the world. As the dust settled after the echo sundering, the world of Eternum faced a future fraught with uncertainty and danger. In this fractured landscape, where once great civilizations had fallen into ruin, the remnants of society struggled to adapt to their new reality. The sundering had not only altered the physical world, but also the very nature of existence itself, creating a world where the past lingered in the form of echoes, fragments of time and memory that floated through the air, waiting to be harnessed by those who dared. The echoes were both a blessing and a curse. They held immense power, capable of bestowing great strength or knowledge upon those who could master them, but they were also unpredictable and often dangerous. To survive in this new world, people had to learn to interact with the echoes, to understand their secrets and unlock their potential. This was no easy task, for the echoes were not always cooperative. Some resisted control, lashing out with the fury of a force that had been torn from its rightful place in time. For those who sought to wield the power of the echoes, the first step was to understand their nature. Echoes were not simply random fragments of the past, they were connected to the emotions and experiences of the people who had lived through the events that created them. Some echoes carried the joy of a long-forgotten festival, while others held the despair of a battle lost to the annals of history. These echoes could be as varied as the memories they represented, and their power was often tied to the strength of the emotions they contained. In the years following the Sundering, scholars and mystics dedicated themselves to the study of echoes, seeking to classify and understand them. They discovered that echoes could be grouped into different types, each with its own characteristics and potential uses. Some echoes were benign, offering wisdom or insight into the past. These were often sought after by those who wished to rebuild the world, to learn from the mistakes of history and avoid repeating them. Other echoes were more aggressive, embodying the rage or fear of their creators. These echoes were often used in combat, their power unleashed in destructive bursts that could turn the tide of battle. However, the most powerful echoes were those that contained a mix of emotions. Echoes that held both joy and sorrow, triumph and defeat. These echoes were rare and difficult to control, but those who could master them found themselves with power beyond imagining. Such echoes were often tied to key events in Eternum's history, moments of great significance that had shaped the course of the world. These were the echoes that many believed held the key to understanding the Sundering itself, and possibly even reversing its effects. Yet, for all the power that the echoes offered, they were also a source of great danger. Those who sought to harness them often found themselves changed by the experience. The echoes were not simply tools to be used. They were living memories, and interacting with them could leave a lasting impact on the mind and soul of the wielder. Some who delved too deeply into the study of echoes found themselves consumed by the emotions contained within, unable to separate themselves from the memories of the past. These individuals became known as the echo-touched, people who had lost their way, caught between the present and the echoes of a world that no longer existed. The echo-touched were both pitied and feared. They wandered the shattered world of Eternum, lost in a haze of memories that were not their own, often becoming dangerous to those around them. Some communities offered them shelter, believing that they could be healed or that their knowledge could be of use. Others saw them as a threat, a reminder of the dangers of meddling with forces that were not meant to be controlled. The echo-touched served as a warning to those who sought power without understanding the price that came with it. As Lysander prepared to embark on his journey, the weight of the echoes and their potential loomed large in his mind. He knew that to uncover the truth of the Sundering, he would need to delve deep into the mysteries of the echoes, to understand their origins and the power they held. But he also knew that the path he was about to walk was fraught with danger, not just from the world around him, but from the echoes themselves. The power to reshape the world was within his grasp, but so too was the risk of losing himself in the process. As the present day emerges from the shadow of the Echo Sundering, Lysander stands at the threshold of his journey, poised to unravel the mysteries that have plagued Eternum for generations. The world around him is a testament to the cataclysmic event that fractured reality itself, leaving behind a landscape filled with the remnants of what once was. The echoes that drift through the air are a constant reminder of the past, a past that refuses to be forgotten. Lysander, born in Aetherwind and raised amidst scholars and seekers of knowledge, has always been driven by a deep curiosity about the world. His earliest memories are of the great library of Aetherwind, where ancient texts spoke of a time before the Sundering, a time when the world was whole and the echoes were nothing more than whispers of a distant past. But the Sundering changed everything, turning those whispers into a powerful force that could shape the future. From a young age, Lysander was fascinated by the echoes, spending hours in the library, poring over ancient scrolls and manuscripts that detailed their origins and power. The scholars of Aetherwind had dedicated their lives to understanding the echoes, and Lysander was no different. But while others were content to study the echoes from a distance, Lysander longed to experience their power firsthand. As he grew older, Lysander's thirst for knowledge only deepened. He sought out the echoes, venturing into the wilds outside Etherwind to encounter them directly. It was during one of these excursions that Lysander first experienced the true power of the echoes. He stumbled upon an ancient ruin, hidden deep within the forest, where the echoes swirled like a storm. The air was thick with their presence, and as Lysander reached out to touch one, he was flooded with a rush of memories not his own. In that moment, Lysander understood the true nature of the echoes. They were not just remnants of the past, but living memories, fragments of people and events long gone. The echo he had touched was filled with the emotions of a warrior who had fought in a great battle, his fear and determination seared into the fabric of reality itself. Lysander could feel the warrior's heartbeat, hear the clash of swords, and see the blood-stained battlefield as if he were there himself. The experience left Lysander shaken, but also exhilarated. He knew then that the echoes were the key to understanding the Sundering, and that if he could master their power, he might be able to uncover the truth of what had happened all those years ago. But he also knew that the echoes were dangerous, that they could overwhelm those who were not prepared to face the memories they contained. Lysander returned to Etherwind with a newfound determination. He began to train, honing his skills and learning to control the echoes. The scholars of Etherwind watched with a mixture of awe and concern as Lysander grew stronger, his connection to the echoes deepening with each passing day. But while they admired his abilities, they also feared the path he was walking. They knew that the echoes were unpredictable, that they could change a person in ways that were not always for the better. Despite their warnings, Lysander pressed on, driven by the need to understand the echoes and the events that had shattered Eternum. He knew that the answers he sought would not be found in the libraries of Etherwind, but out in the world, in the places where the echoes were strongest. And so, with the blessings of the scholars, Lysander set out on his journey, leaving Etherwind behind and stepping into the unknown. As Lysander begins his journey, the echoes are both a guide and a warning, their whispers filling the air around him. He can feel their presence, tugging at his mind, urging him to uncover the secrets they hold. But Lysander knows that the road ahead will not be easy, that the echoes are just one of the many challenges he will face. The world of Eternum is a dangerous place, filled with remnants of the past and threats from the present. But Lysander is ready, his mind and body prepared for the trials to come. The prologue ends with Lysander standing on a hill, looking out over the vast landscape of Eternum. The sun is setting, casting a golden light over the land, and the echoes swirl around him, whispering of the past and the future. Lysander takes a deep breath, his resolve firm, and begins to walk forward, the path to uncovering the truth of the Sundering stretching out before him. The journey has begun, and there is no turning back. As Lysander's journey begins, the challenges grow darker, and the mysteries of Eternum unfold. Stay with us as the echoes guide his fate. Thank you for watching LitRPG Tales, where every story is a new adventure. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out more of our videos.